Nuria Tazan, many thanks for that live update. For more, let's cross to Washington. H.A. Hellyer, Senior Fellow in Geopolitics at the Royal United Services Institute think tank in London. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be with you.
The optics of this are startling. Is it a moment when the world can exhale, can breathe a sigh of relief, dare I say it, can celebrate?
So let's be very clear here. Our bar is extremely low. There's been 2 years of this genocidal war on the people of Gaza by the state of Israel, where tens of thousands of non-combatants in Gaza have been killed. We don't even know the full number yet. Your correspondent mentioned 1,700 people who had been released today, who had been detained from Gaza. It should be noted they were detained illegally by an occupying power after October 7th. So these were people that had nothing to do with October 7th, and they were detained, and now they're being released. And they were taken, it seems, so that they could be released in exchange for Israeli hostages and prisoners. So it's a very low bar where people are happy and relieved that there won't be a continuation of the bombardment in the same way that there has been. They're happy that there won't be a resettlement of Gaza, at least during this administration, which was actually quite likely up until a month ago. They're happy that there won't be, hundreds of people being killed every day. But this is not the end of any occupation. Let's be very clear here. About half of Gaza will still have IDF troops controlling on the ground. And of course, the entirety of Gaza remains under Israeli occupation, an occupation that has been described as illegal by the International Court of Justice and is part of the territory of the state of Palestine. This peace in the Middle East sign that I see on the screen right now, we're simply talking about a hostage prisoner exchange and hopefully a downgrading of fighting and bombing. We're not seeing a peace process actually being put into place where a Palestinian state could come into existence and the end of an occupation.
Yeah, because these are live images from Sharm el Sheikh that we're watching. Yeah. And Donald Trump was asked when he sat down with his Egyptian host, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, when does phase 2 begin? He says it's already started. And we saw earlier among those he was shaking hands with the former UK Prime Minister, Tony Blair, who's been tipped to be part of this outside body that helps to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza. Has phase 2 begun?
Phase 2 has not begun. I don't know why anybody thinks that it has begun. I think people are hoping that phase 2 is going to start, but that also it's going to look very different from what has been described in Washington and by the Trump administration and the Israelis. Phase 2 cannot be a reconstruction of Gaza with some sort of, 2025 version of a British viceroy, i.e. Tony Blair, running the Gaza Strip with a bunch of foreign leaders and with, a few Palestinian technocrats or something. This isn't going to work on the ground. But also more than that, we're talking about several generations of people now in Gaza that are going to be recovering from the last 2 years. This isn't going to be something that people recover from or heal from over the coming days and weeks or months. We're talking decades of recovery on a personal level. And then reconstruction is going to take a very long time indeed. And that's just presuming that there isn't going to be more destruction and attacks on Gaza itself. And again, I'll repeat this, about half of Gaza continues to be under, I won't say Israeli occupation because it's the entirety of Gaza that remains under Israeli occupation, but about half of Gaza will still see IDF troops on the ground until certain milestones have been met under this plan. And those milestones, I think, are very, very difficult to imagine without having a Palestinian state as part of the process. Hamas will not disarm, and and we will not have an international stabilization force that will be able to ensure that it disarms unless there's a Palestinian state at the end of this process.
H.A. Hellyer, so many thanks for being with us from Washington.